The year 1999. The next millennium is fast approaching. Some were hiding in their basements in fear of Y2K. Others were facing the millennium with smiles. Humanity had propelled itself into the future. And this milestone marked the new dawn of man. It was amazing. We made it 2 months before Catherine Knight killed her husband, cooked his corpse, and was intending to feed it to their children. She was planning to serve him with baked potato, pumpkin, beetroot, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy. Why is it that no matter how far we go, no matter the tools and technologies we develop that completely change our lives, we still cannot let go of this primal, dark taboo? Why is it we still eat each other? Freud says this urge blossoms when we are infants. We start off our lives as a sort of cannibal, receiving nourishment from another human being. This may explain why cannibalism is universal. It is recorded in ancient Greek myths and dark German fairy tales. Cannibalism exists in the primal part of each of us. Every human goes through 5 stages in their life. The first is the oral stage, which dominates our first year. Infants don't have a sense of self, no ego. They do not see the world as we do, but they begin exploring it, using their mouths. They develop a bond with their mother. The relationship with the breast is deep. It is both sustenance and nourishment. The oral stage has a second part, the oral sadistic stage. This stage is commonly called teething. In this stage, they wish to bite and incorporate the object, destroying it in the process. These babies start to feel that they are separate individuals, develop ambivalent feelings towards the mother, and express hostility by biting her breast or the nipple of the bottle. As we become children and adults, this impulse grows. Our bite might take on the form of spitting, chewing on gum or pencils, sticking out one's tongue, or nail biting. The primitive impulse to utilize the mouth, lips, and teeth as tools of violence or sadistic carnal satisfaction can remain. Breastfeeding your kid for too long or not long enough may turn your kid into a cannibal, or something like that. Freud's theories are not fact and should be taken with a grain of salt. We all know why some perform cannibalism. As long as there is competition for resources, there will be hunger. As long as there is war, there will be hungry, desperate people eating each other. And as long as there are wars, there will be atrocities committed. And when you do one horrible thing, why not do another? That's exactly what Joshua Milton Blahy, commonly known as General Butt Naked, was thinking. Once called the most evil man alive, this Liberian Civil War fighter would go into battle naked and confess to committing human sacrifice and, of course, cannibalism. He claimed responsibility for taking 20,000 lives. This guy is a priest now, so it's all good. Jesus died for those sins.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a hand of applause, I want us to welcome to the microphone the former general, born naked, ladies and gentlemen, Ninja, Bloody Thomas,
The word cannibal is a mistake that is still being used to this day. The word comes from the Cannib Tribe. Christopher Columbus saw how these tribes would perform ritualistic cannibalism. And of course, he butchered the pronunciation of the name, so instead of the Caribs, he called them the Cannibs, which became cannibals, which became a general term for people who eat people. And now, we will forever repeat this mistake. Sound familiar? Native American! And who knows if the Cannib tribe were even cannibals or not? Queen Isabella told Columbus to be kind to all of those you encounter, unless they happen to be cannibals or something. And of course, Columbus comes back saying they were totally cannibals, Pretty convenient excuse to dehumanize a people and justify committing atrocities against them. Food and love are basic human necessities and often become intertwined. That would explain phrases like, looking good enough to eat, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, I love you so much I could eat you up, and describing a sexually appealing person as sweet, juicy, or tasty. Even kissing, a universal token for love, used by every culture on the planet, can be seen as an imitation of cannibalism. Love cannibalism is a psychosexual disorder that involves people developing a fetish of consuming another person's flesh. The most infamous case is Armin Meiwes. Meiwes went to Cannibal Cafe, a now defunct chat room, and looked for someone who was willing to be eaten. He posted over 60 ads, talked to over 200 men, but only met one. Bernd Brandes, a 42-year-old engineer. Brandes wanted Meiwes to eat him. They videotaped themselves, Meiwes cutting off parts of Brandes, cooking it, and then both attempting to eat it. Meiwes eventually stabbed Brandes to death, with his consent of course, and stored him in a freezer, and slowly grazed on 44 pounds of Brandes over months. Meiwes had these fantasies since childhood. Meiwes said he had always dreamt of having a younger brother, someone to be a part of him, and became fascinated with cannibalism as a way to fulfill that obsession.
My name, Armin Meiwes. I was born 1961. I'm computer engineer from Rothenburg, Germany. I killed a man, slaughtered him and ate him. Since then, he is always with me.
As interesting as it is to think about why Meiwes did this, I think it's even more fascinating to consider why Brandes would. Why would you ever willingly eat yourself and let yourself be eaten? This can be called vorophilia, or more commonly known as vor. Vor is to be attracted to the idea of being eaten and/or observing this process for sexual gratification. With the advent of online pornography and Rule 34, these vor lovers are congregating. There are thousands of hits on Reddit and other popular websites. This thought process is often fantasy-based, and that's what you will see in these places. An important distinction to make is these people imagine themselves being swallowed whole. This is an important aspect that separates those being interested in cannibalism and vor. Cases like Brandes are extremely rare. It can be considered a type of sadomasochism, a form of dominance and submission. Devouring something is the ultimate form of domination, while being devoured is pretty sub. Some suggest that it could be motivated by a desire to merge with a more powerful other, or permanently escape loneliness. One Turkish businessman gained a fantasy from Hansel and Gretel. He would routinely hire a dominatrix, have her meet him in a hotel room, and have her cook him. He made an oven from a cardboard box, would strip and get inside. The dominatrix would describe cooking, then eating him. He was said to orgasm without any physical stimulation. Hey, I'm not trying to kink shame though. All this talk may have you asking, what do humans even taste like? The answer? Pigs. Oink, oink. By most accounts, we taste like pork. Apparently, when these uncivilized cannibals were being bombarded by our civil questions, their term for human flesh to be used as food was translated to long pig. For them, this was a term that meant food that came from humans. Next time you see a menu, keep an eye out for the word long pig.
The meat has an interesting flavor. This meat is not pork. It's long pig.
Are cannibals health conscious? Why not ensure that your newborn baby will be healthy by just eating the placenta? The home that babies live in for 9 months is a little flesh sack that can be used as a nutritious flesh snack. Many celebrities enjoyed the taste of their placenta. I'd eat her placenta. So if you've ever been cannibal curious, have a kid and chow down. And if you can't stomach it, they'll put it in a pill for you, just like they do with real medicine. In 2008, Tim McLean was going somewhere. It didn't matter where, but he was in movement, his energy flowing over the earth. This 22-year-old man had his whole life ahead of him. The greyhound bus was just taking too long, so he slept, just wanted to catch a wink. He never thought a knife would plunge into his neck. He never thought he would be beheaded and eaten before a crowded bus. But that's life for you. It's a man-eat-man world, baby. Let's explore why Vince Lee, the apparent cannibal that was sitting next to McLean and just had to take a nibble, did what he did. He was an immigrant from China, held a bachelor's degree, and had a wife. He was fired from his job because of a disagreement with other employees. He left his wife to look for work. The night before the attack, Vince Lee was seen at 3 a.m. on the bus stop bench with his eyes wide open. The morning of the attack, he had sold his brand new laptop computer to a kid for $60. He happened to sit next to the young Tim McLean, and the attack happened without provocation. Best told by this eyewitness account.
I was just reading a book. All of a sudden I heard a guy screaming. I turned around and the guy sitting right next beside me was standing up and stabbing another guy with a Rambo knife, pretty much. It was a big survival knife like this in the throat, repeatedly. Told everybody to get off the bus. Everybody started to get off the bus. When we all got up, we seen that the guy was cutting off the guy's head. Nothing, just totally calm. The guy that he stabbed was listening to his headphones and sleeping. He didn't do anything to provoke the guy. The guy just took a knife out and stabbed him. Started stabbing him like crazy and cut his head off.
Was he sitting next to him? Did it seem like they were traveling together?
Yeah, he sat right next to the guy that he killed.
Were they friends?
No, I don't think that they were at all. He didn't say anything when the guy got on the bus. I honestly don't think that the guy knew him at all. I think he was just really crazy.
So there were no words exchanged before?
Nothing.
No warning?
Nothing. No warning.
Ever seen anything like this before? Ever been through anything like this before?
Nothing like that, no. I've never seen somebody decapitated.
Was he saying anything during the attack?
Nothing. The guy was totally calm, and when he came and he brought the head and he looked at us and dropped the head, it was just like he was having a day at the beach. Like, he couldn't be bothered by anything else.
He was judged to be criminally not responsible. The psychiatrist said that Lee performed the attack because he was hearing voices he believed were from God. God was telling him to destroy the demon sitting beside him, or he would be killed himself. In the cases of patients with schizophrenia, some researchers argued that their acts of cannibalism were a kind of self-defense reaction to a perceived threat of destruction. For these patients, survival depends on the annihilation or assimilation of the other. Auto-cannibalism is something quite common. This is what it's called when you eat parts of your own body. Who can say they have never eaten a scab, dried skin, hair, or fingernails? But some cases can be pretty intense. There was a 66-year-old man who had been mutilating his fingers for 6 years. This behavior started as serious nail biting and continued as severe finger mutilation, resulting in the loss of the terminal phalanges of all fingers in both hands. When he was finally admitted, he only complained about insomnia. Christians partake in communion. They say they are eating the flesh of Christ and drinking the blood of their Lord. Yes, a metaphor, but still, a strange thought. When the Uruguayan rugby team crashed in the Alps in 1972 and ate each other to survive, they were not regarded as heroes when they came home. They survived, but the world learned of what they did. When questioned, one of them said the reason they thought it was okay to eat their teammates was because of communion. If you could consume the flesh of Christ, then you could consume the flesh of your friends.
Can you just promise, if you eat me, that you clean your plates?
There are other superstitions like the Korowai people of Papua. They believed a creature called the Kakua would take on the form of their friends and family in order to trick and kill them. It is tradition to perform cannibalistic rituals on anyone believed to be a Kakua in order to save them. There are reports that this practice continues to this day. Others maintain that this is a lie in order to keep an interest in an emerging tourism industry. Only because of money would you have the world believe you were a cannibal. There is a positive to all this. Cannibals largely avoid eating their families. In only 2.5% of cases, the victims of cannibalistic homicides were family members. This is markedly lower than other forms of homicide. And the few that did dine on their loved ones reported spitting out their meat, much more than the other non-kin cannibals. So when you're going home for Thanksgiving dinner, do not be worried that you will be on the menu. Cannibalism is a part of human nature. We can't escape it. It won't just go away. There will be stories of spaceships getting stranded and the crew eating each other. The first colony on Mars might resemble that of Jamestown, England's first colony in the US. Jamestown ran out of food and resorted to eating whatever they could and whoever they could. If Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos get their wish and board a spaceship together, only to be stranded, one may eat the other. My money is that Musk would have a Bezos buffet. If what they say about climate change is true, and the ocean's levels keep rising, causing mass migration, if desertification ravages the land and causes food shortages, long pig may be back on the menu, boys. Well, I'm getting hungry. I'll talk to y'all later.